What's going on, everyone? This is a video that I've been wanting to make for a while. I think it's going to be like a trilogy of videos. This is a video specifically on actual sigils used on Led Zeppelin covers. And then I have a part 2 that I'm going to make to this video on talking about Led Zeppelin and playing them backwards and the subliminal messages they have in their songs. And then I'm going to do a third part on this video. It's going to be Led Zeppelin and his ties to Aleister Crowley and purchasing his house on Lake Loch Ness. But yeah, this is an article I found, so I figured this is an easier way to digest it, just like a 3-part video rather than, all in one video. Just not a lot of people, honestly, people have short attention spans, so they would just like probably get 10 minutes into it and be like, yeah, I'm not watching like an hour-long video on Zeppelin, and the occult. This is an article I found. This is, I don't know, I can't find the actual source. Okay, but it gets into the symbols of Led Zeppelin. So I'm going to go ahead and read it, show you the different symbols, what they mean and stuff. I don't know. I found it to be interesting. If you're interested in the occult and stuff, Jimmy Page's Led Zeppelin symbol. You have probably arrived at this page because you were researching the meaning of Jimmy Page's Zoso symbol. Now this is Zoso, not Zozo. That's a whole video in itself, the whole Zozo Ouija board demon. Making room for my buddy. Let's see. Where was I? Oh yeah. Which appeared on the cover of the 4th Led Zeppelin album. You have come to the right place. On this page I will provide details of the source and symbol and why Jimmy Page selected it. Awesome. Motorcycle. There's been lots of weird speculation about the symbol. The symbol means such as the 3-headed dog Cerberus that guards the gates to hell. No idle speculation here, just the facts and references so you can look the information up yourselves and draw your own conclusions. If you wish to leave any feedback, blah blah blah. So let's see here. Led Zeppelin 4th album. The 4 symbols that appear in the site header was also the name of the 4th Led Zeppelin album, being 1 symbol for each band member plus a 5th symbol for Sandy Denny, who duetted with Robert Plant on the Battle of Evermore, which was one of the very few times Plant ever sang with another person. So here's 4 of the symbols and their meanings. You have Zoso, which is the symbol of Saturn, ruler of Capricorn astrology sign. You have Robert Plant's symbol, Truth or Courage. John Paul Jones, symbol, Confidence and Competence. And you have symbol of the Trinity, or Father, Mother, and Child. Now, the Saturn symbol is a little weird because that is kind of dark for anyone who's looking for a lot of conspiracy theorists. They look for the negative, things. They'll tie that into, Robert Plant was a Saturn worshiper. I'm not going to say that. If he was, hey, cool, that's why we live in America, most of my viewers. That's the beauty of America, is freedom of religion. Me personally, I'm not big on Saturn worship. I think it's evil and disgusting, and from my research, literally Saturn is the equivalent of Jehovah. So you can get irritated about that if you want. Research it yourself. That's what I've found it to be. Saturn and Jehovah are the same, one and the same entity, and it's just an evil, insane God. Just Wikipedia Saturn images, and you'll see images of him eating, you know, children and babies and stuff. It's crazy. I'll make a video one of these days when I get the time on Saturn worship. Where did the symbols come from? When Jimmy Page was asked what his symbol meant, he said that the band members... Just double checking, making sure that's recording before I get super far into this. The band members selected them from a standard reference book of sigils. A sigil is a symbol used in magic, and suggested that interested people should go and look them up in a standard reference text. Page used to own a secondhand bookshop called Equinox, which is no longer open, which specialized in books from the occult. That would have been dope to visit. It's in London, but fuck yeah, dude. That's honestly one of my dreams, is to open like an occult shop in general, you know. I was somewhat doing it over in Perryville when I lived there before my divorce with my first wife. We had an empty room and we were kind of setting it up into a shop, and psychic reading room and stuff, and that would have been cool if it would have went through, but life happens, you know. Let's see, he clearly had better access to these standard reference books than us, because when I started searching, I had great difficulty finding any books with any symbols and sigils that looked even vaguely similar to the symbols above, which some research has proved possible to find the symbols for Plant Jones and Bonham and Sandy Denny, which Page's symbol was elusive, and this led to great speculation about its magical significance. There are books with symbols in them, but they are hard to find, and it is easier if you live in France and can speak French. And honestly, man, with these old grimoires and stuff, check out, actually, I don't think I've ever shouted out his channel. I think it's 666 Sticks Hexenhammer. He does the grueling procedure of translating old grimoires, and it's insane. And you could pretty much kind of like, it's super hard to find, you know. That's like trying to find someone who can translate like cuneiform, you know what I mean? But this goes into the Zoso symbol. The symbol does not spell the word Zoso, but this is a good name for referring to it. This is what I believe Mr. Page did in his young days. Jimmy's astrological sun sign is Capricorn, and if you know your astrology, you will know that Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn. Jimmy wanted a symbol for Saturn, which he found a selection in a textbook. Some possible options will be listed shortly. Now, Jimmy's first guitar was a 1959 Futurama Grazioso, with that his parents bought for him when he was 12 years old. One of the symbols in the textbooks look quite a bit like Zioso of Grazioso. Perhaps this was why the particular Saturn symbol caught his eye. I do not personally believe that there is any deeper meaning than this, but there are many people out there who do. The origins of the symbol go back at least to 1521 and almost certainly earlier to the 1300s, but what the structure and form of the symbol originally meant, if anything, has been long lost in the sands of time. Let's see. The most accessible way to find these symbols is the grimoires Et Rituels Magiques by Francois Ribaudot Damas, published P. Belfond in Paris, 1972 and 1998. So this is a page of it. Gets into sigils and stuff. It's probably a super hard book to find. So, I mean, you're welcome to screenshot that part if you're interested in this type of stuff. French text simply says that Saturn rules over the lives of mankind, extending or terminating it and making life happy or painful. Now that's where it gets into Saturn rules over our lives of mankind, extending or terminating it and making life happy or painful. Now, from my research, like I said, Saturn is Jehovah, you know, and that's why when you read like the Old Testament, why Jehovah's like a madman, you know, doing all this evil, crazy shit, because he's Saturn, you know, and you can get offended if you want, you can say whatever, that's fine, you know, I don't care, I'm just here to present my thoughts and theories, and from my research personally, Saturn's Jehovah, and he's also Father Time with the sickle, Angel of Death. They're all one and the same. Zeus too, he might tie into Zeus. I think Jehovah's kind of characteristics from Saturn and Zeus. But yeah, that's a whole video for another day, which I plan on making a video on Saturn worship. The Dumas text, easiest reference book to locate, but there are others, and it is likely that Page had a copy of Le Dragon Rouge, the Red Dragon, and if you go looking for this book, note that there are several called Le Dragon Rouge, and they're quite different books. So yeah, he's just explaining that it's super hard to find. So he gives an image of what you're looking for. Looks like a super old grimoire. So let me scroll down a little bit and show you some more fragments. Go ahead and I'm trying to keep it there long enough to where you can screenshot if you want. There's the Zoso symbol though. It's all in French, so unless you speak French, good luck. This 1850 version of this 1850 version of quit. I'm trying, y'all, and where it's on my phone, I don't have a pause button, so this 1850 version of Le Dragon Rouge is a reprint of an earlier 1521 text, The Red Dragon and the Black Hen, so that might be an easier way to find it, including the secrets of Artifice and the secrets of Cleopatra, and how to make yourself invisible. Ha! A grimoire spellbook, how to make yourself invisible. That's insane. There's another possible reference text that Jimmy Page had, which was brought to my attention by Joseph Peterson from Esoteric Archives. Below is page 31 from a rare 19th century dictionary of symbols called Le Triple Vocabulaire Infernal Manuel du Démoniaque by Fresnelian, a pseudonym for Simon Blocquel, published by Lille Blocquel Castel, 1844. If you may find the second-hand copies of this rare book, but expect to pay several hundred euros for them on eBay. That's another thing about these old grimoires, man. It's best to just find them on like PDF form. That's another thing about Styx Hexenhammer. I believe he takes and buys actual old grimoires and translates them and all that jazz like I was talking about earlier, but I believe he makes them available in common English, modern English, in PDF form. So you can like literally have these old grimoires for yourself. Here's a picture of this one he was talking about. The sigils and stuff. There's Zoso again at the bottom left on the right page. The collection of symbols for Saturn are slightly different to the text above, but the Zoso symbol stands out clearly. This book is hard to find, but is available for viewing in the St. That's in London. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. Let's see. This is quite a long article, so I'm going to skip over some of it. Hey, thanks if you held on this long, you know. Majority of talismans, virtues, and sacred characters. Let me see. Yeah, the majority of talismans owe their virtues to the sacred characters that the ancients regarded as sure defense. The famous Ring of Solomon. That's cool. That's where it gets into demonology and Freemasonry and honestly old Judaism and stuff. Talking about King Solomon had a magical ring that he used to control demons, to build the temple of Solomon. But yeah, you can actually find his grimoires. It's called, I think, Key of Solomon. There's the Greater Key of Solomon and the Lesser Key of Solomon. It's like a 2-book grimoire collection. I plan on getting them one day. It's just money. But a famous Ring of Solomon who subjected the geniuses to the will of this king magician owed all its force to the Kabbalistic characters. For these characters, see the following page. The works which treat on the matter are the Clavicles, the Red Dragon, Enchiriadon, the Treasure of the Old Man of the Pyramids, etc. These 19th century texts were referencing earlier works, and Mr. Robert Ansel of the Folger site brought the 1557 Cardin text to my attention. Jerome Cardin was a 16th century mathematician who had some passing interest in Hermeticism and the occult. Cardin's father was a friend of Leonardo da Vinci. Oh, that's pretty dope. And whilst Cardin had a passing interest in astrology, he got into trouble for doing some horoscope for Jesus Christ. Oh my god, that's awesome. And Hermeticism, he was foremost a mathematician, and he considered the writings of Artephius to be nonsense. Excuse me for a second. I don't have a free hand. Yeah, I smoke like a freight train. It's worse than what I used to do, so. Cardin compiled a book in 1557 called Darium. Damn, someone's blowing up my phone. Variet, and chapter 91 was entitled, yeah, I'm not getting into all that. Showing more sigils with Zoso. So in summary, for Jimmy Page, Zoso symbol. Page wanted a symbol for Saturn, for the planetary ruler of his astrological sun sign Capricorn. We weren't certain exactly which reference book he used, but the collection of Saturn symbols date back to at least the 1300s, and he chose the Zoso symbol, one most probably because it reminded him of the name of his first guitar, the Grazioso guitar. It was almost like it was meant to be. I don't know how much about Artephius, and I don't promise that understanding these symbols will bring eternal life and prosperity. If you want to investigate further what the structure of Saturn symbol may mean, then please check the speculation page. I'm going to go down. This is getting into his embroiders and astrology. Pretty much saying that Jimmy was pretty much astrologist. Let's see, other band member symbols. This page is mainly about Jimmy Zoso symbol. Let's see, Robert Plant's symbol, the feather of Mayotte. And that's the symbol there, the feather of Mayotte. And I actually got into talking about Mayotte the other day in a video titled, trying to remember, give me a second. I think it was, I was talking about it, yeah, in the video on Lilith being in the Bible, in Genesis. So check that video out if you haven't. It gets into Egyptology, Jewish legends, different translations of the Bible, the paranormal. It gets into a bunch of different stuff. Because like I said in videos before, everything ties together. And it does. So Robert's plant symbol is the feather of Maat, the Egyptian goddess of justice and fairness, and is the emblem of a writer, as in one who composes song lyrics. Makes sense. So the goddess of goodness and justice and fairness. That's cool. It can be found in the Sacred Symbols of Mu by Colonel James Churchward. Churchward. It is in chapter 5 on pages 142 and 143. This is not a common symbol, but it does turn up in both Egyptian and Red Indian texts. And when asked about the symbol, Plant said, "My symbol was drawn from the ancient Mu civilization, which existed about 15,000 years ago as part of a lost continent somewhere in the Pacific Ocean between China and Mexico. All sorts of things can be tied with the Mu civilization, even the eastern island effigies. These Mu people left stone tablets with their symbols inscribed into them all over the place in Mexico, Egypt, Ethiopia, India, China, and other places, and they all date from the same period." It's insane. That's some, like, forbidden history stuff right there. The feather, a symbol on which all sorts of philosophies have been based, and which has very interesting heritage. For instance, it represents courage to many of the Red Indian tribes. I like people to lay down the truth. No bullshit. That's what the feather in the circle is all about. That's nice. I like his attitude, too. So that's just showing the album cover with the symbols. Here's some more images of text with some more of the symbols. And there's that symbol there and that symbol there, both used in the Zeppelin album cover. John Paul Jones's symbol is one used to exorcise evil spirits, so it's a symbol used in exorcisms, which is pretty dope. With the note that a clumsy person will be unable to draw them. This infers that such a person is confident and competent in their abilities. John Bonham's symbol also appears on the Hierophant tarot card, symbolism Osiris, Isis, and Horus, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, Trinity, in case you didn't know. And is also remarkably similar to the logo on the Ballantine moving ale. Yeah. I don't know why you had to throw that in there. Everyone knows at this point, if you're even a small time barely into conspiracy theories, you know at this point. All these brands and labels and all that jazz, I mean, that's like conspiracy class number 1 for when you're first getting into conspiracies. That it's all occult symbols, you know, is what they mark these symbols in. Cigarette went out. That's some more symbols. I think that these brands and stuff, I think they use these symbols, one, to communicate with other fat cat elites, to kind of tell them, hey, this is what team we're on. But I also think they use them for kind of like, honestly, for their power. Kind of like how if you ever been to like a Chinese buffet, they got the little cat. One brings in money, the other one brings in luck. Same thing. I believe they truly believe that these symbols work for specific means, you know. And after researching and finding out how many of the elites and all these fat cats and stuff in Hollywood and companies and all that, how many of them are into occult stuff, I don't know, I think it's silly to deny it at this point and to laugh at it as a crazy conspiracy. I mean, you could research all day and they're all into weird occult shit, you know. The Led Zeppelin record label was Swan Song. A swan song is a dying dirge. Fables tell that swans are able to foresee their approaching death and that they sing a beautiful, melodious song just before the fateful event. This isn't true, but the legend can be traced back to Chaucer in the 14th century, and the ancient Greeks also wrote of the abilities of swans to sing. The use of a swan song phrase in English dates back to 1831. So I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. Now here's where it gets crazy and ties into Lucifer. I like this. The man with the wings and no genitals. The man with the wings and no genitals that was used as the Swan Song logo on the records came from the painting by William Rimmer in 1869 and 1870. The original painting can be found in the Boston Museum of Fine Arts and is called The Evening, the Fall of Day. I have had many debates about who the picture is. The consensus seems to be that it represents the god Apollo in anguish falling at the end of the day. Another theory is that it's Lucifer rising, as in the bringer of light, Venus the morning star. Unfortunately, William Rimmer didn't leave us any clues as the figure doesn't appear similar to any traditional ways in which Apollo or Lucifer or Icarus, that's what I always heard, it was Icarus falling. I was going to mention that. That's what I've heard. Our possible explanation are depicted, but what the art is all about, so we continue to speculate. But the Apollo theory is the most prevalent. So the most popular theory is that it's Apollo. I've heard it was Icarus growing up. And some, there you go, there you go, Christian conspiracy theorists. There's your evidence that it's Satan. Ooh. So, there you go, man. And I think we're down to the end of this article, but it does kind of end on a cool little note. It's called the Icelandic Runestone. I was recently told about some runes Jimmy Page may have carved into a stone near Keflavik Airport in Iceland when Led Zeppelin, and where they briefly in 1970. The photo below was taken by Pétur Frogerson in 2008, and I have borrowed the image from the Flickr site, his Flickr site. The exact location of the stone has been kept secret, but it appears to be genuine, a stylized runic representation of Jimmy Page's name. So that's pretty cool. So somewhere out there is a rune stone supposedly carved by Jimmy Page. Now the location is a mystery, it's a secret, so that kind of sucks. But I mean, I kind of get it in the same way, because you don't want people hiking out there and destroying shit. But there you go, there's part 1 on my Led Zeppelin and the occult series. I just wanted to show the symbolism part, the symbols, the sigils, their meaning, my personal beliefs on it. I know a lot of people will probably say, oh Abe, you're just using other people's stuff. Well, yeah, how do you think you learn anything? Is by someone else had to learn it before you. I try to spice it up with my personal beliefs and opinions on it. Hence talking about, you know, my beliefs in Saturn, shit like that. But part 2 of this series is this trilogy is going to be Led Zeppelin and their music being played backwards, subliminal messages in Led Zeppelin music, and then I'll do a part 3 and final ending to the Led Zeppelin and the occult trilogy, which will be a video on talking about Led Zeppelin and their ties to Aleister Crowley, Lake Loch Ness, and heck, we'll even bring up some Loch Ness Monster in there, maybe. I don't know. But y'all have a good day. Let me know in the comments what you think. Give a thumbs up, like, subscribe if you haven't, and I might see you later today with another video.